deep in the Appalachian wilderness, something waits beneath the trees, something that's been there long before we mapped these mountains. And in the fall of 1987, 2 separate encounters would prove that some legends refuse to stay buried. The threat is still out there. You won't want to miss this one. Ted Morrison didn't go to the mountains to find trouble. He went to escape it. After losing his wife to cancer that spring, the 43-year-old contractor needed silence, the kind you can only find where cell towers don't reach, and civilization feels like a memory. He drove his pickup 6 hours into the Blue Ridge, found a forgotten trail, and hiked until the world fell away behind him. The first night was perfect. Stars like scattered diamonds, the sound of wind through ancient hemlocks. But on the second night, Ted noticed something wrong. The forest had gone silent. No crickets, no owls. Just his breathing and the crackle of his campfire. Then he smelled a thick, musky odor that made his eyes water. Wet dog mixed with something rotten, something dead. Ted grabbed his flashlight and swept the beam across the tree line. Nothing. But he could feel it now, that primal certainty that he was being watched. He threw more wood on the fire, making the flames leap higher, and that's when he heard the breathing. Deep, rhythmic, coming from just beyond the light. He saw it then. Eyes. Yellow-green and reflective. Too high off the ground to be a bear, too far apart to be human. And then it stepped forward. 7 feet tall, covered in dark matted hair, shoulders broader than any man's. Ted's rational mind tried to label it bear, costume, hallucination, but his body knew the truth. This was a predator, and he was prey. It screamed. Not a roar, not a howl, but a sound that seemed to split the night in half, almost human, but twisted, agonized. Ted ran. He left everything, tent, supplies, dignity, and crashed through the darkness like a madman. Branches tore his face. Roots tried to break his ankles. Behind him he could hear it following. Not running, just walking. Because it didn't need to hurry, following. Not running, just walking. Because it didn't need to hurry, Ted ran for 3 hours straight, his heart hammering against his ribs until he burst onto a highway and flagged down a trucker who later said he looked like he'd seen death itself. Now, here's where it gets strange. 3 weeks earlier, and 40 miles north, the Buckle brothers Danny, 19, and Marcus, 22, were bow hunting when they stumbled across something they couldn't explain. A structure, woven from branches and saplings, forming a crude teepee about 12 feet high, deep in a ravine where no human had reason to build anything. Shh. Marcus wanted to leave. Danny, cocky and curious, crawled inside. The smell hit him immediately, that same rotting musk, and scattered around the floor were bones. Deer skulls, rabbit skeletons, and one bone that made Danny's blood freeze, a human femur, old and weathered but unmistakable. They heard the footsteps before they saw it. Heavy, deliberate. Marcus screamed for Danny to get out, and that's when the structure collapsed inward. Something massive was on top of it, crushing it down. Danny rolled clear just as a hand, if you could call it that, clawed through the branches. Fingers like tree roots, nails black and split. Marcus didn't think. He drew his bow and fired. The arrow struck something solid, and the night exploded with that same agonized scream Ted would hear weeks later. The brothers ran, Marcus dragging Danny by his jacket, until they reached their truck and didn't stop driving until they crossed the state line. But here's what the authorities found. No structure, no bones, no blood, just disturbed earth and broken branches that could have been from anything. The local Cherokee elders, when quietly asked, mentioned the Innikin's ancient forest watchers, spirits or flesh, depending on who you ask. Further south, Creek legends speak of the Ishtenhot, the wild man of the woods who punishes those who venture too deep. Ted Morrison's story made the papers. He was ridiculed, dismissed as a grieving man who'd broken down in the woods. But then Marcus Buckle came forward. Then 3 more hikers from different years, different mountains, all describing the same thing, the same smell, the same eyes, the same impossible presence. And then, in 1992, everything changed. A man named Theodore Winston turned himself into police in Asheville. Teddy, as he was known, confessed to living in the Appalachian wilderness for over a decade, to wearing animal hides and a crafted suit of hair and leather, to terrorizing campers and hikers. He showed them his costume, crude but convincing in darkness. He led them to his camps. The trial was brief. Teddy was sentenced to psychiatric care. Case closed. The media celebrated mystery solved, rational world restored. But here's what they didn't report. Teddy's timeline didn't match half the sightings. His costume didn't explain the 7-foot height multiple witnesses described. And when pressed, he couldn't explain how he'd been in 2 places, 40 miles apart, on the same night. Ted Morrison never went back to the mountains. The Buckle brothers moved to Florida. And deep in the Appalachian underground, in the hollows and ravines we've never mapped, something still walks the tree line. If you made it to the end of this story, comment HLOs below. Folk horror reminds us that some things can't be explained away, that the old places hold old secrets, and not all of them want to be found. If this sent chills down your spine, smash that like button and subscribe for more mysteries that blur the line between legend and nightmare. Keep an open mind out there. You never know what's watching from just beyond the firelight.